Everyone's talking about it. Pluto's going back into Aquarius this year on January the 20th or 21st, depends on where you live in the world. This is going to bring a paradigm shift and a huge amount of change for the collective. We got a teaser of this energy last year when he dipped in there on the third week of March to the middle June 11th in the 0 degrees of Aquarius, but he is back again this year. And don't forget, this is a long story. He'll be in Aquarius until 2044, minus a backwards dip back into Capricorn next September, October to mid-November. We're going to talk about how this can bring huge changes. Get ready for the old AI interface stories, new technologies, paradigm shifts, new axes of power in the world, revolutions and transformations. Yeah, a little alien UFO thing hitting the old White House lawn. We're going to talk about the big picture in the beginning of this video. Some of the big things I think are coming up for the world in 2024. But more importantly, I want to also help you navigate this in your axis of power. Because as Pluto begins to move through Aquarius, it wakens up or opens up a huge energy in your air part of your sky. What are your air parts of your sky? It's your Gemini part of your sky. It's your Libra part of your natal sky. And it's your Aquarius part, creating a new trigon or trine of potency, power, wealth, and transformation. So we're going to do the all signs today with it. Look at that energy shift for you and understand that it's something you haven't encountered in your life because you'd have to be over 240 years old. That's how slow Pluto is moving through the heavens. He's a big transpersonal giant of energetics. He's a smaller dwarf planet these days, but he's a big energy. So we're going to do your sign and talk about this new axis of power. Now, I want to also say that I did a video last year, 2 Pluto videos. I will put the links in the description box below. One is about your Pluto generation and what that means as a soul and how this time impacts you based on your Pluto generation. And the other one's a deep dive into the history of Pluto and Aquarius and how it may play out for the world. So those 2023 videos are still useful because they apply to 2044. And I may even release them with a new intro so people can find them more easily. But this is something I haven't done, so stay tuned. Hey, by the way, hey, are you new to my channel? If you're new, my name is Lori Lothian, Western Tropical Zodiac, whole sign houses. I love the minor asteroids, fixed stars. I put out about 30 videos a month. I enjoy sharing content with you guys. If you want to like and subscribe or try me out, please do. If you're getting this video, by the way, anytime before the end of January, my 2024 individual sign, all signs video bundle. That's 12 different signs, each available for purchase for $25, or buy the bundle for a mere $59, and that price goes to $77 at the end of January. So check that out below in the description box because it helps me buy equipment for my business. It helps me hire editors and time stampers and things that help you. It's my yearly fundraiser. That content never goes public, and you can share the 12 videos, private videos, with friends and family. All right, let's get going. Now, number 1, this is an Aries symbol, by the way, not a demonic symbol. Number 1, let's talk about get a tea, get a coffee, get a beer, get your favorite beverage, settle in, get cozy, pause, take some notes. I'm going to talk first about what the big stories are for the entire world. Then I'm going to move into the idea of your sign. I really hope you'll stay here to listen to the beginning because there's things I will say about Pluto that I will not say anywhere else. Right. So, I mean, in other words, you're going to miss some good content that could be useful for you as well. Now, let's just say one thing. Pluto's leaving Capricorn. He's been there since 2008. Okay. And he's getting rid of his Capricorn story. That's something that, was a part of the beginning of the American Revolution, for example. So that kind of intensity. But Capricorn is like power structures like banks and governments and top-down structures and things to do with finance and commerce and the desire to have dominance or control over things in a very institutional way. And if we look back at that, I would just give it a sort of parting note. I think that sometimes because Pluto Capricorn isn't done yet, comes back September 1st to November 19th this coming fall for a last 29-degree hurrah. And it is a part of the United States Pluto return right now as well, that especially last year and the year before, that this energy has one last hurrah, one last gasp. And it's important to consider what that one last gasp might be like, because it's not quite done yet. For example, we saw things like Occupy Wall Street, the Arab Spring, WikiLeaks, Edward Snowden, Brexit. These are ideas of things that occurred You know, the what is it, that scandal, a Me Too movement that came out of the Harvey Weinstein sex scandal. During the time that Pluto was moving through Capricorn, we had the Epstein debacle with Ghislaine Maxwell and his notes, and he hung himself, and we all know he was assassinated in prison. And of course, the intel is likely that he was an intelligence asset hired by an intelligence agency to collect data and blackmail data on all these big names with his secret cameras, whether they were in the sex ring or not, or the secret island. He was an intel agent. If you don't know about that yet, you will know about this, because as Pluto finishes up in Capricorn, it's digging up the dirt of what is hidden from view, right? What we didn't know, what we didn't see, what we couldn't notice, because Pluto is what is hidden and needs to be excavated for transformation, regeneration, snakes getting skin, good old, the caterpillar becomes a butterfly. All those cliches can be true. Conflict and crisis, it regenerates and transforms things. Now, this is not done, but we're not going to talk too much about that. I'll be talking again about Pluto and Capricorn in depth next fall. Just want to get the gist of what's behind us. Now that Pluto's coming into Aquarius, however, this is an energy that's typically associated with things that are revolution. Aquarius, we the people, the societal structures, the larger way that the world sees itself. The water bearer sign, Aquarius, is a humanoid figure, right? It's something to do with humanity, humanness. And Pluto is transforming humanness. That's why we'll be talking about the AI thing. But if we go back in history and say what kinds of things happen when Pluto has been in Aquarius before, and I talk about this a lot more in one of my 2023 videos. But we saw things when Pluto was here, such as the French Revolution, right? The end of the kings and queens and the monarchy, and the beginning of a new structure for governance for the people. So there's a sense of, again, what are we revolting or revolutionizing for? And the French Revolution is a perfect example. I believe during the French Revolution, Uranus was opposite this Pluto ingress into Aquarius, and this time Pluto is square Uranus in Taurus. So it has a very revolutionary, because Uranus demands freedom and rebellion, and this energy has a broad square. So to Uranus in the sign of Taurus as Pluto ingresses into the sign of Aquarius. And there's also a lot of other things that happen. The metric system for, measuring things was developed during Pluto in Aquarius. So there's another example of, a new way of seeing the world, new way of measuring reality. Classical music era was a part, Mozart, all a part of the energy of Pluto and Aquarius. So new developments in art and creativity that impact humanity on large. I think it's going to be a lot of a scientific breakthrough, particularly a focus on medical health and breakthroughs in that area. Yes, likely a cure for cancer, for example. Now I'm going to break it down a little bit more right now. I'm going to give you, I'm looking at my notes. I'm going to give you 4 biggies, okay? Because there's so many things that can happen. I might even go for 5 during this Pluto. I'm going to go for 5 big things that Lori Lothian suggests Pluto moving into Aquarius will do, not just in 2024, but until 2044, January, when he makes his last exit mark out of Aquarius into the sign of Pisces. So that's how long we've got to live with these energies. So number 1, flying cars. George Jetson, his son Elroy. Yes, flying cars. There's one being developed now called eVTOL. There's another one in Silicon Valley. Try to remember the name. Maybe it starts with a P. We're going to see individual flying vehicles, right? I think the one is called eVTOL is one of them. So this is going to be your own little mini planes, and we're going to be moving around in the sky. By the time you get to 2024, please expect to have your flying car or your flying vehicle. Is it going to be multi-passenger? No, I mean like individual or family-sized flying vehicles. So we're going to look for flying vehicles coming up in our new wave. Why? Aquarius is air, Pluto is transformation, scientific technology, etc. And I think that's going to be we, the people, benefiting from getting off of congested highways, hopping in our little flying vehicle and getting where the heck we might need to go. Does that sound exciting? I think it does. And it's already being developed. And I came up with that idea by reading The Economist's top 6 predictions for 24. And I'm like, oh yeah, eVTOL and all of those things for sure. Number 2. New power axes of power shifting. There's times in the past when Pluto in Aquarius through ancient Europe, and ancient history worldwide led to new axes of power and smaller, less centralized and deregulated groups of economic power forming. So not a centralized one power structure, but decentralized power, middle powers coming to power, people that we thought were second or third world countries forming new axes of power. We already see that new power broker structures happening with the BRICS nation, adding 5 new nations, I believe, in 2024. We have always seen some axes of power changes as new last year, as new nations entered NATO. Nations that said they'd never enter NATO. I even believe Switzerland declared it's no longer going to be a neutral country. Did they enter NATO? But changes of power along those lines. I mean, those are big deal energy shifts, right? So changes of economic and political power. We're going to see the map change. Basically, anytime this has happened before, we've seen the map change. In fact, this would be like the Spanish conquistadors discovering the Incan Empire and then declaring that territory theirs. There's a lot of this territorial map-making change energy going on. And I will also add things that were hidden from view, like what's under Antarctica anyway. And as the ice caps start to melt and as things begin to melt and as we begin to see more of what's under there, although ground penetrating radar and scientists probably do know, especially military departments of the world know what's under Antarctica, the world will be becoming more aware of what is hidden under all that ice that will, just like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey now turns out to be 11,000 years old. I think we're going to see some paradigm shifts in the collective about how old humanity is, about what's inside or underneath the sea or the ice, and we're going to be making some revolutionary paradigm discoveries that change our paradigm of how old humanity is, how long people have been living on this earth, what kind of technologies we had and lost, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe the old ancient aliens theory will be true. We'll get to that in a minute. So number 1, flying planes. Number 2, changes of axes of power, political and economic, big political and economic changes. Alrighty. I might be counting higher than I said, but anyway, number 3, we're definitely going to see an increase of censorship. There are historical records of censorship really picking up. Pluto power, Aquarius, we the people power, sure, but desire to control, dominate, because the dark side of Pluto is tyranny, is dictatorship, is power and control. And so we may see a lot of censorship coming up that we actually can't believe before our very eyes is happening, And we've seen it already last year. We saw Elon Musk buck back at Twitter, but we even see that happening now with Twitter. So it doesn't really matter, or X, where the censorship is. Canada has a couple censorship laws that got passed last year. You can't make this stuff up, where, that we're being governed by what we can speak and say. But on the same token, you might find new platforms online, social media platforms busting out. We already see that with Substack. We already see that with Rumble, where people can speak freely, about what's going on in their lives or the world at large without being censored, shut down, or deplatformed. But we're going to see more deplatformed, more and more of the censorship. For example, when Copernicus said, by the way, the Earth isn't the center of reality, and we're circling the sun, and the sun isn't circling us. He was censored. He was censored. He was in prison. So, oh my God, how dare you say that? God said this is the firmament, and like up there, the sun shall revolve around it, or something like that. So, if something assaults this is number 3, censorship, more censorship. If something assaults our sense of how reality should look, and the governing powers don't want the way it really is to get out, there will be censorship, where there's scientific censorship. We already saw that during the pandemic, almost a precursor, where scientists speaking out about their views about what was going on with a particular situation with the virus were shut down, censored, and deplatformed. So censorship will be up. We'll see more of that in the next 20 years. That would probably create rebellion. And thus we have censorship and rebellion going hand in hand, and revolts and revolutions. So keep in mind, when paradigm shifts are shocking, censorship and clamping down on the truth is a natural result. That was so 1, flying planes; 2, like new axes of power and the rise of the middle powers; number 3, or but no longer a unipolar hegemonic, power control of the United States, but other different axes like the China-Russian Union. It's really strong right now, and other axes in India of power and gathering power together. Then I went number 4, and then of course censorship, because paradigm shifts are scary. Number 4, we're going to talk about aliens and artificial intelligence in one breath. Why? Because if artificial intelligence becomes sentient or passes a Turing test or becomes, a conscious being, then it is another intelligence. It's another form of intelligence that's unknown to us, therefore another life form. Similarly, aliens or things that seem to be recovered, the bodies of something flying these crafts, these stories have been percolating in an intense way ever since Pluto last year, March the 23rd through to June 11th, entered the whole narrative. And we get the David Grush and the testimony and more revelations that maybe there have been objects recovered and non-human bodies recovered by governments around the world, particularly the United States, and congressional testimony investigations are ongoing. Well, here's what I want to say. Aliens could be interdimensional beings. Who knows? We could be our future selves, coming back in a different form because we've evolved. I don't know. I don't think it's that though. But it is very possible. I really mean it, that in 2024, we could see something massive and major being revealed en masse regarding, and into the next 20 years, this thing about what are those flying crafts that so many of us have seen that are not merely stealth technology from another government, but are likely not terrestrial or not from this dimension. And what are those beings that are in charge of those ones that are piloted? So big revelations for AI for alien or non-human or this dimensional consciousness or awareness or intelligent life forms with bodies. And because there's all this movement to go back to look at the moon, those space missions to the moon that are picking up again, maybe discoveries even on the moon revealed to humanity by whatever rogue nation, which is to say, there's a building over here on the moon. So again, who built it? So we get more and more of that stuff coming up. So AI, and an AI, because it's another form of intelligence. When Pluto was moving through Capricorn, you had things like, the Spanish explorers discovering the Incan Empire, okay? And the Incans discovering the Spanish, and a big culture shock / paradigm shift around, we're not the only ones here, and everyone looks different. They have white skin, we don't have white skin. They speak this language, we speak that language. Encounters with the other that feel alien. Encounters with the other that feel alien, whether it's alien artificial intelligence, whether it's aliens from outer space, or even I don't know, what's left to explore. Someone gets under the earth and they figure out that there is aliens, under the earth, or another intelligent species under the ocean or something like that. Okay, moving into the next story. I would say that we're going to see a big change in certain people in power in 24 in specific. I'm just now narrowing us down to 2024. I'm not any longer talking to you about the whole 20 years. I want to talk about Joe Biden. I want to talk about King Charles, and I want to talk about China and a little bit the nation of Israel. 4 things that are going to show up in terms of why I think the change. Well, I'm going to explain why. So China is an Aquarius rising nation in its current iteration, with Pluto really close to the ascendant, maybe 1 degree. And as Pluto comes into this story this year, he's moving off that 1 degree to the 2nd degree of Aquarius, and he's getting engaged with the Aquarius moon of the nation of China. Now, a lot of us know the moon means home and homeland, territory I wish to reside in. And at the same time, we see that China has got its eyeballs on Taiwan, which it believes it belongs to them, and even has telegraphed to Joe Biden recently that they will indeed want to take that Taiwan back in 2027, giving even a time frame for the United States and the rest of the world to consider. So when we see that Pluto power, domination, desire to have some power, moving over the moon of China in the 1st house, it can mean death of the people or mass death of the people. I really hope not. Or it could mean something to do in 2024 and 25 into 26, right? When Pluto's in those first 4 or 5 degrees of Aquarius, dominating that moon, with China's desire to take back land and homeland moon that belongs to them in their mind and their idea of what belongs to them. Number 2, Joe Biden has his moon like at 0 degrees of Taurus, and so does King Charles. Now, that means that Pluto last year, dipped over their moons, right? Dipped over their moons. Now, for Joe Biden, the moon is in the house of his health challenges. And that does make me suspect that his mental and emotional health is going to decline significantly in 2024. I mean, there's just no two ways about it. And so this decline that we're seeing, most of us who have eyes to hear, see and ears to hear, someone called him the dementia in sheep, but he seems to be quite befuddled half the time. Bless his soul. I'm Canadian, not American. And with Pluto crossing his moon yet again. So this happened last year, March the 23rd to June 11th, and it's back again this year. All of the year minus September, October, November, in terms of the signage, Pluto is on his moon. So but it's an orb of his moon from Capricorn as well. So this can be very difficult for the body. See, the moon can represent the sublunar sphere of reality below the horizon, which is the material realm, including the body. And therefore, his body and his health is in jeopardy to significantly in 2024, especially when Mars is opposite Pluto late next year. We're going to be talking about that in a whole separate video. It's pretty gnarly. Mars and Leo opposite that Pluto energy. So we'll be talking about that in the fall, and that could put Joe Biden's physical being in harm's way. And unfortunately, with Mars, it can be not just from natural causes. Read between my lines. Next, I want to talk about, King Charles. I don't think he's going to stay. He's going to abdicate. I always said that when he got the throne, based on the time of the crowning and all of that stuff. It's like he had an astrologer tell him how to get in and out. Get into the role and then pass it. Do it. What is it called? Like a good faith move and take on the kingship, but you're going to pass it to your son, right? And he's like, yeah, I want to do that anyway. I'm really a mystic at heart. So I think King Charles will make some motion to declare or suggest maybe health reasons, he's going to shift his focus away from being in charge of the country as a monarch and begin to pass the baton to his son, William. And then finally, so I said Biden, Charles, China, and Israel. Israel has its sun at 8 degrees of Taurus. Just as a principle, sun represents leader and leadership power in a nation's chart. And even though 8 degrees is quite far away from 0 and 2 up to 2 degrees of range of motion, I want you to be aware that's still an orb especially in archetypal astrology, that is influential. And I want to say then over the next 4 to 8 about 4 years from now, 5 years from now, Pluto will land on the sun of Israel, which is pretty intense and not particularly positive. So we'll keep that in mind as well as just a thought pattern about what could that mean for Israel as Pluto gets closer to its sun in the next few years. And I'll do a whole video on that as well. All right. So anything else I'd say that I didn't cover about the Pluto story? I'm going to add one more element. So I must be on number 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Certainly there's going to be some big currency changes. We have Uranus with Jupiter in the sign of Taurus, which is currency. And we also have already the resurgence of crypto making a rebound, but also central bank digital currencies and new forms of payment, including social credit systems. Pluto and Aquarius would like to control we the people. We the people may rebel, but we're going to see new credit systems, even universal basic income. Well, Canada is just floating the universal basic income idea, strangely enough, just like a test pilot balloon to see what people think about that. But it all said and done, and that's so WEF, right? Universal income, basic income means here's like $2,000 a month, and you don't have to work, but if you work, you don't get it. So do you want to live like a poor person and make no money and get some money from the government? Who wants that anyway? Or do you want to actually make money and do well? So anyway, but universal basic income, social credit systems, central bank digital currencies, and we've already seen exchange traded funds now coming out for Bitcoin. So that's kind of like the Capricornian, Pluto is trying to grasp the freedom energy of a crypto, which is supposed to be ledgerless trading, right? Or ledgerless buying. And you can't track it. You can't govern it. And they're trying to find ways to get it in charge of it. So we'll see what happens. But Pluto and Aquarius square Jupiter/Uranus right now in Taurus, especially with Jupiter there through to the end of May. We're going to see some big stories coming out about currencies that are digital or new or not traditional. Like you might even see a declaration that some countries are going to put to bed or retire out paper money, for example, and make everything electronic. That can happen in some places in the world. I doubt it would happen in the United States. So at this point, all right, those are some big, broad stories. Now we're going to do the all signs axis of power, axes of power. And I want you to think about, you have 3 air places of your chart, the Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. As soon as Pluto goes into Aquarius, everything about those air chunks of your natal real estate become enlivened. And of course, when you have planets in those signs, therefore, in those whole sign houses, do not use Placidus. Go check your chart in whole sign houses. I have a description, free video tutorial in the link below, and see if you can track that for yourself by casting your chart in whole sign houses. You have one whole sign of Gemini, one whole house, one whole sign of Libra, one whole house, not part of a house, one whole sign of Aquarius. This is the ancient house system. In 2024, I'm going to do some evergreen videos where I describe why I do things this way, and I give you the tools to make your own judgment, right? I use Placidus as well, but it doesn't really work for the way we're doing astrology on YouTube. I use it sometimes to look at a boundary ingress, where I have intercepted houses and stuff like that. Otherwise, no. Okay, so I go with the ancient house system because it works best. Once you go whole sign, you never go back. Now I'm going to take a little breather. I'm going to grab some water. I come back and we're doing your sign. Listen for your rising sign first. It will be more accurate, most likely. It's you at the steering wheel of the ship of your life. That's when you were born, what time it was, and where you lived. And it's called your rising sign. It's unique to you, but it's unique to about a 2-hour window of time in the location of your birth. Whereas the sun is unique to everyone born in the same 30-day period, and it can represent father and father figure, career, and purpose. The moon moves 2.5 days through a sign, and then you share that moon sign with everybody born, right? You can listen for your moon sign within 2.5 days of you on average. And the moon can be home and nest and safety and emotions and the body and the mother. So that's why when you listen for your rising sign, it is really mostly all about you. And we're looking at the houses that you can see from the steering wheel of your life. The derived houses, by using sun, we pretend the sun is the first house sign. And when we talk about moon signs in astrology, say, listen for your moon sign, it's as if you're reading the chart as the moon is the first house in the first house, okay? As if the moon is the ascendant of the chart, as if the sun is the ascendant of the chart. Okay. All right. So I'm taking it, you won't even know I'm gone. I'm just going to pause, get a little bit of water, and I'll be right on back to dive into this. And don't forget to check my other videos I did last year. Links will be in the description box below the More button. They're so worth listening to, especially your Pluto generation. And I almost forgot to mention, guys, that I did a video with Adam Ellenboss of Nightlight Astrology. The link in the description box below. We talked as well about Pluto and Aquarius, and we did cover all signs with a tarot card. But we did not talk about this axis of power that I'm about to tell you about, because this is my coolio idea. It's like, I know that you guys are like, what? Axis of power? Yes, the trine energies, fire trines, earth trines. This is the air trine of Pluto for the next 20 years. And so we're all going to have a new energy of power in our chart. Pluto, power, okay, wealth, but a new energy of potency, power, and transformation. So let's go ahead and look at the chart for a second, and we'll do the all signs. But here's the sky in Washington, D.C. Why not, right? When Pluto ingresses to 0 degrees and 00 minutes of Aquarius. And that's happening in Washington, D.C. at 8:05 p.m. And so therefore, just for your time zone. Now, this ingress happened again last year, right, on the 23rd of March. This is not the first time, but here we go again. And at the time of day it happens, it is going to look like the rising energy is the sign of Virgo for the nation's capital in Washington. So let's just, for your own edification, put the ascendant descendant axis and the midheaven axis in there. See, there you go. And you can see it's a 5-degree Taurus rising ascendant, in which we are going to note the energy of Pluto in Washington, D.C., entering into the 6th house of sickness, of work and workers in the workforce, etc., in a mundane chart. But anyway, in this part of the chart. And you could make some stories, if you like, about how this could impact the world, but also how, more importantly, it could impact the United States of America, perhaps in the year 2024, at least until November 19th, because on November 19th, there will be a new ingress of Pluto back into Aquarius after dipping back into 29 degrees of Capricorn. And so this can suggest, for instance, the United States might have a tendency to see the world, the nation's capital, the place where power exists, through the lens of Virgo, practical, right? Practical, but also mutable, changeable, willing to adapt and flex. Well, the house of the open enemies, oh, a little confusion about who's your open enemy. There's Neptune and Pisces, and also Saturn and Pisces. So some energy of, endurance and confusion around enemies and open enemies, and that includes war and powers with whom you might go to war. You can also note that in this chart, the nation of Israel has an ascendant right near that south node in the money house of the United States of America. Make what you will of that, but this can be a house of spending, and the United States is spending money and sending money and sending weapons to Israel, as we all know. So that can show up here as well, just a continuation of it. But the south node can be about letting go, or releasing. So there may be kickback in the United States, or maybe inter-party warfare about how much support Israel's getting financially and also verbally, right? The House of Speech by the nation of the United States. And we might find that's going to change as January 20th ingress happens, and we begin to see a turning in that energy, a letting go or letting go of it. Now, just because it's baking in, of course, a vibe as if the United States had, or the US Capitol had, a Virgo rising. Indeed, the United States of America has a Sag rising right down here. The Sagittarius energy is what the United States is about. And its house of open enemies in its natal chart is Gemini. We have a Gemini moon here right over there as well. Interesting. And on what else can I say? Jupiter. So, Pluto is in a applying energetic towards Jupiter in Taurus, who's also moving direct. That 6-degree orb counts as a square. United States of America, based on the capital, as if it's a Virgo rising until, November 19th, when there's a new Pluto ingress. That's Pluto squaring Jupiter in the house of legal and law and foreign shores and foreigners. And so look for some big intensities around law and legal matters. What am I thinking? The International Court of Justice is ruling on whether or not there needs to be a temporary ceasefire, because Israel may indeed be committing a bad thing starts with the letter G. Yeah, I don't want the algorithm to kill this video here in censorship land. So maybe the United States is going to get muddled up in that, because the United States is such a forceful ally in terms of, no red lines and shoulder to shoulder, that if the United States continues to support what is going on, and the court, ICJ demands a ceasefire to figure it out, to be safe, not to continue what might be a very bad GEN action there. And the United States doesn't want to go with it. The ICJ can also rule against the United States, I believe, as a conspirator in a crime. I don't know for sure, but looking for legal problems that might be shocking, up here with that ingress squaring Jupiter in the 9th house. Just some thoughts. If you guys have any thoughts as well, you want to chime in, please put them in the comments. Fixed star Altair has to do with war. Eye of the Eagle, 0 degrees of Aquarius. And that star is being activated over and over again by Pluto. And there's about winning and war and strategy involved in that star. And we keep seeing that coming back as Pluto goes over 0 degrees, back last year, back again. So keep that in mind. It's a very interesting place for Pluto to hang out. And Jupiter, Uranus did a conjunction here. Jupiter and Saturn, on the solstice of 2020, winter solstice. And that was indeed a very hot spot in the sky then. That is a new the age of air being ushered in full time and giving a 20-year intensity around the area of the sky represented by Aquarius, by Jupiter and Saturn. This is called the Great Conjunction. It is known to be associated with the assassination of world leaders in the past, the death or assassination of a world leader. So that Jupiter-Saturn conjunction has a 20-year run, right? It's not just, Jupiter-Saturn conjunct in December of 2020, then you add 20 years. And so again, it's all stories that could be playing out with Pluto coming back here in a conjunction to the sun. And while that sun is not in an exact conjunction to Pluto, not perfect or partile, it is still there. And of course, sun is world leaders or kings, and Pluto is death. So I'm going to say that it's very possible we'll see between January 20th and September, well, at September 1st, as Pluto goes back into Capricorn, a death of a world leader of great significance. I'm concerned, of course, especially with Mars opposite Pluto in the fall, that we could have an assassination. You know, there I just said the bad word that it's going to get me trolled or something by the algorithm, but let's keep going. All right, so that's the sky in general. Adjust for your time zone. Does it really matter that you're on it on the day of the Aquarius ingress? Of course not. Now, reminder before we start the all signs. Oh, and is there any asteroid active here? Because I know where the stars are. I just want to double check and see if there's any particular asteroid action going on. So give me a split second to go into my asteroid chart in the back. All right, I'm in the asteroid chart. Pluto's on Hermes. Oh my goodness, I'm glad I looked. Oh yeah, Lori, you would have missed a biggie. And Fortuna. Okay. Hermes, Fortuna, Hermes and Fortuna. Anybody else? No. Okay, so let's make a comment about the Hermes Fortuna conjunction of Pluto. Now, Pluto, big transpersonal outer planet giant. From our vantage point on Earth, there's an asteroid belt between us and Pluto. And technically, the asteroid Hermes, Trismegistus perhaps, twice great magician of ancient Egypt, but more like the idea of, there's a Greek and Roman version of the messenger of the gods, right? Mercury and Hermes, right? So this is just the other version. This is the Greek version. So brain come online, I believe that's right. And so basically, you know, we're talking about news, we're talking about information, we're talking about commerce and currencies. These are things that Mercury gets involved with. So Pluto, power, powerful communications, powerful news stories coming out to do with death. Pluto, death. So that's intense. With Sun there, again, we're baking in meaning that even though this is the sky on the 20th at 8 p.m. in Washington, D.C., an ingress chart says this is what the story is until, and this will be until Pluto goes back into Capricorn September 1st. So again, bake it in like Hermes, news, Pluto, power, death, Sun, world leader, okay, or king, so to speak. Again, that could also be King Charles saying, I'm stepping down, folks. Wouldn't be surprised with that either. I told you why earlier. And the last thing I want to say is that the asteroid Fortuna, the fates, the fortunes and the fates, okay? The spinners of fate, the fortunes, what goes up must come down. Fortuna isn't good or bad. It's just this idea of some big karmic destinies playing out here. So that's baking in for the world. Now let's go ahead and talk about your sign. And remember to listen as your rising sign will be for your rising, as it will likely be the most accurate. Hey guys, a lot of you asked me to do stuff about, you know, what's going on in the elections in Australia and stuff like that, or other nations. And I would love to. I just don't have time. And I use the United States because, believe it or not, 45% of my subscribers are from the US. The rest are England and then Canada, but then also Australia, English-speaking world in general. And so I'm just trying my best. But I will have more content coming out in 24 that's evergreen, teaching you things and sharing content you can listen to forever, not just time-sensitive weather girl content. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, please. I know it sounds like a drill that we always say. That notifications bell means when I put content out and I go live and I'm in the premiere discussing the content and taking your questions, all my content is premiered except for the all signs videos. Well, even some of that is. That means I come back after making these videos, I come back and watch them with you. And then we talk about the content and I can chatter in the chat with you about it. Okay. Lori is going to move the chart to Aries. So you have to give me a minute. All right. Oh, come on, Aries, come back. There we go. All right, starting now with Aries. Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign. I have a moon and sun in here, so I recognize what it's like to be one of us. So what happens here is that after Pluto being in Aquarius for a dog's age, right? For a dog's age, because it's 2008, I mean, in Capricorn, transforming our career, transforming how we perceive power and purpose in career, and, you know, how we can be more wealthy and powerful and dominant in our career since 2008. It's no longer that story as Pluto moves yet again into Aquarius, as he did last year, for a teaser taster March to June, and he's back again until September 1st. Okay. And then he pumps back in again November 19th. Now, here he in our 11th house of good spirit, we can make some assumptions about even greater gains from our career. Because while he plied the waters or the soil of our Capricorn territory, giving us access to more power, he's also, as he moved through here, lifting up our reputation, and then here giving us the greater rewards from that lift. So what do you get? You get greater career gains, period. More money, more perks, more rewards, more awards, more recognition, more influence over larger groups of people, more connection up here in the 11th house, perhaps, right? To powerful people who are allies, benefactors, and friends who want to be like an older sister, brother. And technically, the older brothers and sisters, especially the one above you, may suddenly become quite the powerful ally. For us, Aries, this is a sextile of Pluto to the Aries sun, moon, and ascendant, right? As a whole sign sextile, adjust for your own degree. And so it flows in a positive way to our body, our being, our self, our identity. So it's not particularly difficult. It feels empowering, and you can get much more influence in the world, but also generate much more success and wealth in the world until 2044. So looking forward to that, I hope. Now, remember I mentioned this is about the axis of power. This means then the Gemini part of your sky and the Libra part of your sky are also powered up. And Gemini is a part of your sky to do with trips and travel and writing and communication and siblings and local neighborhood. It also connects to skills-based teaching and skills-based learning, as well as things that might have to do with your online presence, your website, and your social media world and platforms. Now, I've been watching this for many people for many long time. Indeed, this is your social media house. The influence in larger groups that you connect with on social media is your 11th house. All right. So that's increasing. The actual usage of those platforms is increasing. The moon is locked and loaded in the ingress in her joy house. And so you get a lot of success and joy coming through that part of your sky, baking in through till September as a new power of axis of power. And that is an energy here between the sun and the moon that's flowing, right? It's called a trine. It brings good things, and it makes the moon a particular kind of a moon. So if you want to just understand how this works, the sun in Aquarius, if we had let me go 1 degree Aquarius on the day. Okay, but it's really 0. I moved to the 21st because I'm advancing the chart. But if we went from, if we had a 15-degree moon here, we would have, Lori's thinking out loud, the beginning of a waxing crescent moon. And then here we would have at the very end of beginning of Taurus, we would have a beginning of a first quarter moon. And we really are at the very tail end of a first quarter moon here. Okay, so this is just about to move into the next lunation. So let me double check my math, right? Because I'm honestly just doing this on the fly. 1 degree Aquarius to 1 degree. That would be your full moon, 1 degree of Leo. Let's pull it back by 30. Yep, there would be a waxing gibbous moon. It's the last quarter moon. It's just finishing a last quarter moon on the 20th on the ingress. So we have a last quarter moon, which is like something needs to be finished. We're on a mission to finalize something. As the moon in her joy says, finish that writing project, push through. Come on, let's get it done. Let's bring this thing to completion. Let's get things finished, right? And so there's a finish line energy here with a moon in the house of writing, a moon in the house of social media, but in her joy, in her place of success. That axis of power, don't forget, is 20 years in the game making, right? You're more powerful in the 11th house. 3rd house matters, which I just mentioned, and 7th house matters. Marriage, audience, marketplace, clients, customers, business partnerships, all the significant others that you need to reach out to or reach out to you. This is a new area of importance. And this is a new area of power. And this is baking in just until, the end of this year. Really, the energy of the South Node, right? Minus September, October, November, which is also letting you release energy here too. Maybe you're going to let go of certain kinds of relationships or clients or ways you reach out to your others in your world. Maybe you're going to sort of surrender some of that in order to increase more power here. Like, for example, as an Aries sun and moon, I am already seeing far fewer clients. I raised my rates a bit. I'm seeing far fewer clients in 2024. So I can write the moon and joy in the house of writing, the Deep Code Astrology book, right? So these are examples from my example. You do you. If by letting go of that relationship, letting go of that business partnership, letting go of that way you relate to those clients or customers, or releasing and surrendering or weakening it a bit, it happens. It's going to strengthen you in the long run, right? It's a power axis. You are now powered up in Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra in your whole sign house system. Don't look at Placidus. Listen to the intro. Look in my description box. Oh, I can't repeating this over and over. Do your whole sign houses. Okay. Now, anything else I want to say about your axes of power? Clearly, if you are an Aries sun, moon, and rising in the first, say, 4 degrees, 5 degrees even of Aries, this is going to be the most powerful energy for you, because this Pluto sort of sun conjunction flows right at that degree, flows right at you, and so does this moon as a part of it, have a really lovely flow to your first house. So in essence, your earlier degrees of Aries really get the most potency, but all Aries will feel it. It doesn't have to be exact. Don't forget, we have Hermes here, the messenger of the gods sitting on Pluto. What is it you need to message to the world to be of greater influence, to increase the gains and rewards of your career? How do you need to rethink your long-range dreams and plans for your life? Because Mercury is the mind and what we consider our intellect. What do you need to rethink about your visions and goals and your 5 and 10-year plans? A lot of that's really being propelled forward in an axis of power, especially if some of those plans involve changes of neighborhood, writing projects, social media, online world, teaching and learning projects, and how you reach out to those significant others in your life. Audience, marketplace, and significant love relationship. All right, Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign, especially you Taurians, because my daughter's one. I'm really fond of all of you Tauruses in my life. Well, the energy here of Pluto finishing up a Capricorn story. Pluto and Capricorn, for such a very long time, since 2008, has been transforming your relationship to father and father figures, maybe even feeling like a difficult transformation at that. If you were in a third marriage situation, a third long-term love partner, like a marriage, that has been transformed in death and rebirth type ways, and that's finishing up. And also, you may have been transforming and healing and dealing up deep excavations around things to do with the meaning of your life, the purpose of your life, your spiritual philosophy, your ideology, your religious beliefs, things to do with academics, book publishing, and universities, and legal and court matters. Very intense energy since 2008, coming to a close, minus September, October, November, when there's a dip back into Capricorn. I'm going to get rid of the ascendant midheaven sign. I meant to get rid of that already. Give me a sec. That was because I was just showing you another chart earlier in the beginning. So where you're going now, don't forget last March 23rd to June 11th, you also had Pluto moving through, the beginning of the story, a teaser, a taste of your 10th house. Honestly, Tauruses are here to level up their career. I've already gone through this as an Aries sun moon. It felt since 2008 to 2024 that I kept dying and being born again in my career. You guys, there's so many things that I did and then I left, right? I did well in all of them, but you may power way up to great ambition and power, and then you may take it away and burn it down and rise again and burn it down. So there's come deep potency, some transformation in your reputation and your power in the world and your career and purpose in the next 20 years. And you may have got a smidgen of a foretaste, just a little taste of it between March and June of last year. And now Pluto is back. He's with Hermes and Fortuna. The fates and fortunes are whispering in your ear about your career and purpose, but also Hermes Trismegistus, or maybe not that, maybe just the messenger of the gods, or commercial success in your career, commercial power, X-ray vision in your how to do your career, but also news, information, communicating. A lot of things are going to happen here. Maybe you'll even feel it pretty soon in because of the asteroid with Pluto, that maybe in the first month there's going to be some new information or news coming through about your career and purpose. But here's the thing. It's about the axis of power, axes of power. And there's a square to Jupiter in the house of you. You want to be bold, magnanimous, powerful, and lucky, and good, and faithful, and hopeful, optimistic energy. You are doing Jupiter. And Jupiter is in a broad square to Pluto and the sun. And there may be some conflict as a Taurus that you're feeling through this 21st of January through to September about conflict in things that you must power up for in your career and things to do with the magnanimous luck and juicy fertility of who you are. You know, Jupiter just wants you to be ho, 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 fairy godfather, Santa Claus, you know, full of good cheer, jovial Jove. And yet you've got some intensity up here. Now, the house of the father in Hellenistic tradition can be the 10th house. Therefore, some of you may encounter a father-like experience, a death of a father or a father figure in the wake of this event between the month of January 20th, 21st and September. So don't worry. It's not everybody's going to have this, but you need to be aware of what's possible. And of course, that'll put a little damper on your jovial Jove Jupiter energy. This is also Pluto with the sun activating the axes of your earnings and money house and spending and savings, and activating a powerful energy of your 6th house of debts, paying off debts, tendencies, rentals, pets, work, and health routines. Certainly Pluto in the 10th house is a powerful ally for increasing your physical health and well-being. My daughter, as a Taurus sun, experienced that quite very much as Pluto ingress March through June into the house, 10th house. Not only did she up-level her work and got a great new job, if I remember, that was a time frame of a new job that she got. But anyway, even if it was better health, right? Her health routines and health became much more stable. So you can see that things to do with your health, things to do with your dietary style, and things that you shouldn't eat or drink that get in the way of your health can be powered up over the next 20 years until 2044. But also, of course, through September 1st, when you have this kind of generative energy of the first, 0-degree ingress. I might also say to you that no matter what I say, you're lucky. No matter what I tell you, Jupiter's watching out for you in the 1st house, even in a square to Pluto. Jupiter is going to be the trump card here. So you have luck, you have opportunity, you are going to do fine, okay? Especially this year. Not every Pluto story will feel as lovely as this one, but this one feels pretty good. And I'm going to be doing another video when Jupiter moves into the axis, into your 2nd house, but you can expect some super prosperity kicking in for you the 3rd week of May at about a year. And that's still tying into that Pluto story in your 10th house. And that's going to be the big energies of new financial success connected to father figures or career and career success coming for you guys for sure. So looking forward to that. If you need to let go of some kind of work or health habit that isn't any good for you, South Node in the 6th house will help you clear it, and also to clear any karmic illnesses as well. And so looking forward to that. Energy kicking in for all of my Taurus people. And if you need a new pet or you want to change a rental situation, this is good for that. The sun rules the house of your home. This is a house of rentals. So, renting a new home out to somebody, becoming a tenant somewhere, this could power up some really powerful yay you moments around a new tenancy or rental opportunity, golden, good, and everything until, throughout 2024, really, minus September, October, November. Gemini, sun, moon, and rising sign. This is the story of your Pluto finishing up the Capricorn narrative that was ongoing for so long, since 2008, in that chunky money house. Now, that's taxes. That's, bank loans, mortgages, investments. That's money shared with a spouse. I've had a progressed sun in Gemini now for quite a while, and that covered that Pluto transit, and that involved divorce and asset separation. That involved things to do with tax debacle that had a lot of intensity for me. I can relate to you guys as a Gemini, natal Gemini. Progressed signs should always be a second layer over your natal. But, it was a lot of discombobulation in my longer term treasure chest money, right? And so for you guys, this is going to be a time in which, you're finishing this Pluto transit. I mean, I'm relating to you through from 2008 to 24 through your eighth house, and then phew, it's done. You can get wealthy from this transit too, just so you know. And residual income, passive income, advertising income, royalty income, derivatives and stuff like that. When those kinds of monies, even windfalls can happen with Pluto here. So keep in mind, it's not over till the fat lady sings is an old stupid comedic expression, but it is not over until the end of this year because you still have September, October, November to have a grand finale in your big chunky money house. All right, chunky money, unearned income. Then you're going to see the next story, which is that Pluto is moving into the sign of Aquarius. Starting last year, he tiptoed in March 23rd through to June 11th, gave you a teaser. Now he's back on the 2021st, depends on where you live. Conjunct the sun in your ninth house of God, Dharma. Now, number one, it's like, what do you believe is the meaning of your life? Well, you're going to figure this out between now and 2044. Hermes, the messenger, is there, and you're going to go really deep into spiritual philosophy. You might really start rethinking and thinking the way your spiritual philosophy and ideologies work or don't work for you. But you may also power up here in the word foreign shores, foreigners, and foreign lands. And these foreign energies can be very good for your finances in the next 2 decades. The sun here with Pluto can also indicate the death of a father figure. This is another father patriarchal energetic house, a house of God. And there may be indeed between now and September, somebody that's a father figure. It does not have to be your own father. It's, they're old enough or in some way that you think of them in a fatherly way. And then Pluto sun up here with Hermes. What is it you wish to message the world that could become a book or a teaching? You teach like a professor up there and you write books that get published up there. And so book publishing, teaching, professorialness, academic success, colleges, campuses, universities, powering up for you in the next 20 years. This is really pretty exciting. This flows to your Gemini nest, right? Your sun, your moon, your rising receive a trine from Pluto, and especially early degrees, first 5 degrees of sun, moon, and Gemini, sun, moon, and rising in Gemini, you get a lot of yay you juice in the next 3 years from this Pluto, but all Geminis feel it through to 2044 anyway. Pluto up here is making axes of power happen. Your axes of power is your ninth house. I described all the meanings there. It includes power in third marriages, wealth in third marriages, wealth in book publishing, wealth in winning money in court situations, leveling up your spiritual philosophy, and then or death of a spiritual philosophy. I quit the church. And then Pluto flowing to your Gemini nature. This is meaning your health, your body, your identity, your sense of self, empowered up, powering up, reaching a new critical level of potency and power. And, you're going to be world dominator. Okay. And then fifth house energies, your axes of that too. This is your new, trigon of new power in the air signs of your creativity, entrepreneurship, children, romance, sexuality, fun, joy, play, pleasure, natural talents and abilities. This part of your sky becomes extremely so powerful for you over the course of the next few years. But also this year in 2024, you may let go of something. You may release a relationship with a lover, a sibling. You may deepen a relationship as well with South Node and go more deeply spiritual with those people. You may almost be operating from some talents and resources of abilities you have that come from other lives and past lives in 24 as you begin to know what you're really good at. There's almost a performer energy. The stage is the fifth house. And so you're opening up the sort of intelligent idea relating performing. Now, like Libra's 1 and 1, I want to start a new podcast called The World in Our Stars. And I intend for each of the guests to be interviewed by me rather than me do the whole show. So that's exciting for me because that would look a lot like that Libra energy here. Talking to astrologers about world events, basically, or experts in mundane astrology. Now, the other thing is that you could find the axes of power with the fifth house being activated bringing in a new kind of relationship. If you've never been with somebody who feels deeply, truly yours, or you never found real power and joy in a committed love and sexual and romantic relationship, no reason why you shouldn't, especially with Venus and Sag in your seventh, baking in kind of from the ingress chart, the opportunity for a new kind of love relationship. And if you already have one, then we're just talking about a deepening of it, especially because, the South Node here is indicating that spiritual depth that can show up in those types of relationships. All right, I think I'm going to grab just a short water break. Have you liked, subscribed, and hit that notification bell? If you haven't, please do. It helps the channel grow. And if you're in the live premiere, thank you very much to all my regulars, Melissa Carey and Ace of Spades and Herbal Empress, Crystalline Alchemist, Discerning Light, Psychic Readings with Rose, Bold and Beautiful Tarot, who am I forgetting? Michael Thrash, Linda Calder, L.A. Taylor, and more. Boiling Frogs, etc. I don't have my master list with me because I'm traveling, but thanks for being in my crew. I'm going to come back now and do the next sign, which is Cancer. So let's get rolling. This is just a water break. Well, it's a water break as soon as I drink the water. All right, let's get back into the chart. I have a feeling this is going to be a 2-hour video. I'm doing like a Candace Marie version of reality here. I have a 2024 All Signs 2024 Big Transits playlist. And if you haven't seen the deep dive into the Chiron North Node with Candace Maria Beyond the Veil and Tarot and Astrology, go watch that one. It's doing very well. But I mean, she and I really jive together well, and I think you'll enjoy that as well. Okay, so Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. Am I still recording? Yeah. Okay, so we have angularity as Pluto has been going through Capricorn. He's across the way from you in the house of significant others, finishing that job up this year. Don't forget, he's been here since 2008, finishes up with a last dip in September, October into mid-November. You're kind of been transforming your marriage, your business partnerships, your audience client connections. I know a Cancer rising who had a devastating divorce. I know other people who had infidelities emerge in their relationships. I know other people who met the most powerful partner of their life during this transit. So you Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising have been through a lot of transformation through other people. How you relate to that client, marketplace, audience, business partnership, or your significant other. And that transformation is completing this year. It's the last gasp, September, October into mid-November. Then we are talking today about the new story. That is that Pluto tiptoed into Aquarius last March 23rd through to June 11th. And now in 2024, he's back on the 20th, 21st, depending on where you live, ingressing at 0 degrees of Capricorn, conjunct the Sun and asteroid Hermes and asteroid Fortuna. And so this is a story where you're going to maybe increase your wealth. Hermes Pluto energy in the 8th house of chunky money can help you create money through inheritance, residual income, new tax strategies, things to do with investments in the stock market, things to do with royalty income like book publishing income, or any kind of passive income like ad income, that kind of revenue that you don't earn directly, unearned income. You're not like doing something for the money, right? It's not your salary paycheck stuff. So this is going to increase for you, and this is going to be powerful over the next 20 years. Go back and see what was happening last year. How was your money increase looking in that regard? And if anything, can you make some assumptions about, March, April, May into early mid-June last year? Now, this is back. This has a lot of intensity because it is also connected to a square to Jupiter. And that might mean that you have something going on here, because that's another money house, this 11th, where you are going to maybe, this is a bit of a difficult wealth yoga, get some money in a way that may not be as happy for you as you'd like. Maybe it's an inheritance coming through. Maybe it's spousal separation monies and awards that way. Or, I hate to say it, even perhaps the death of a significant partner. So there can be some kind of money coming through, but Jupiter squaring direct from the 11th house of pennies from heaven. Yes, the money's coming, but you may not feel as jubilant about it as all that. This is for 2024, not for the 20 years ahead. That said, This is an energy that is what we call in aversion to you, like you're here and you can't see the eighth house very well. And so therefore it may also have to do with secrets being revealed to you about your family of origin, your spouse's money, hidden money, money that's being tucked away and not seen by you, owed to you, even coming into view, because Venus in your sixth house of what is owed and debts and stuff can mean that some kind of revelation about money is coming through, that it's almost like a secret treasure trove of discovery around finances. It could even be something like you paid too much taxes and you find out you get more money back by the end of the year, but it can also be money that was maybe hidden from you in nefarious ways, like you were owed something from someone somewhere sometime and now you're going to see that you were and you might get it back. That kind of thing. The power energy here, the axes of power is all about the moksha houses of 8, 12, and 4, spiritual liberation, right? These are normally water houses, but they bring spiritual awakening. So if any of you Cancers are looking to have a spiritual experience that takes you closer to what's real, like an awakening, then this is a story for the next 20 years. It's not just this year. Okay. It can happen anytime in the next couple of decades. With the South Node in your fourth house, K2 South Node can bring you liberation from your family of origin. Time to let go of your childhood wounds, the way your ancestors may have coded for certain curses or patterns, and you no longer want them. By investigating some of the deeper assumptions you made as a child about the way the world works and the way you work, you can be liberated from your old identity that formed from childhood or from ancestral line stuff. Keep that in mind, especially with the moon, which represents the mother or the home or the nest, therefore the ancestors in the 12th house. A lot of you may be able to undo the codes that have held you back. And a lot of that is available to you, the beginning of that undoing of those ancestral and familial codes. It is available for you in 2024. That's when it's most active. Buying and selling real estate can also be very prosperous for you, because with Pluto in your eighth house and Hermes, who's commerce and transactions and deals and negotiations, the asteroid is with Pluto, then this can open up the really ideal opportunity to buy or sell a home, or to rent out a property or rent a new property, with Venus also baked into the sixth house. So you're looking at this energy in 24 of buying, selling real estate and property, renting out a home or renting a new home, having auspicious, powerful luck for you. Especially also consider buying or selling property or renting property in a foreign place, a far off land or far off shore. And lastly, you can make more money using online payment processors, Stripe and PayPal. And although you have to push through to a finish line with that moon that is a last quarter moon, that can be a new area of lucrative money as well for all of you Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising this year in particular. Ready? Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. And this is Pluto finishing since 2008, his journey through Capricorn. Some of you went through a great deal of transformation through the loss of animals, domestic animals, pets, through challenges to your health, through work and health challenges, through challenges in your work situation, jobs, work, and maybe even with the accumulation of financial debt or struggle with debt. So these things have been happening for you since 2008. But as this is about to leave, I think I said health as well, personal health, as Pluto's leaving here this year, minus September, October into mid-November, the last gasp, this is a story that is finishing up. And Pluto moving into your seventh house for you Leos is going to bring you new levels of transformation and power, regeneration and rebirth in significant marriage type and love relationships. Now, if you're in a relationship and Pluto travels through your seventh house and this relationship is not solid, this relationship, especially for Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising in the first 4 degrees of Leo, this year, next year, maybe the year after, can see an end of those relationships or, a termination for some reason. But Pluto here for you singletons can bring you new power and new powerful people into your life, including clients, audience, and significant new types of potent, powerful relationships, including love relationships. Pluto here can give you some powerful allies or other people in your client base. Suddenly your clients are the wealthy, the powerful, the famous, or the rich. Why not? And that's a story that's going to be with you until 2044. Pluto is with Hermes is really good for communicating and having successful wealth outcomes and power to legal contracts and negotiations over the next 20 years. Pluto is also squaring Jupiter in your 10th house of career. And this could be as simple as this year, 2024, is a difficult time because your spouse or business partner is at odds with whatever you're doing in your successful career, as Jupiter is making you very successful to the end of May in your career and reputation space. And a significant love relationship type person or business partner objects or wants to dominate or control that success for some reason. Hopefully not, but it's there. The trine from Pluto to your 11th house can be about wealth generated through reaching out to audience, marketplace, public, and clients as a great gain from your career, including the idea of generating a great deal of power through females, moon, in your 11th house, who are acting like sister, big sister for you, allies and benefactors, female allies and benefactors benefiting you greatly. Possibly as well, a little bit of fame come from the moon in the 11th house as you're popular with the people by something you're tossing into the public and the marketplace. And with the North Node in the 9th house, sextiling the moon, definitely good for writing a best-selling or publishing a best-selling book in 24, or that kind of goodness in the next 20 years. Also, the other axis of your triangle of power. I'm going to call this video the triangle of power. The triangle of power, all signs Pluto video. Just came up with that now. This is your 3rd house. So more power regarding journeys, trips, travels, writing projects, the online world, your social media land, your sibling youngers, the local environment, the neighbors, neighborhood, things to do with learning something, a skills-based type of learning or teaching. Those areas are all about power and excitement for you in the next 20 years until 2044. And Pluto is saying in this year, well, you may have to let go of something like release, quit, let go, surrender, that neighborhood, writing project, sibling relationship, online thing, let it go, forego those things, maybe South Node. Longer range story, because the South Node leaves here in January 25, is this still is a powerful 3rd house for you. So any of you Leos who wish to travel quite a lot, teach, learn, maybe write, be big on social media or something, this is going to open up a corridor of a big yes for you in the next 20 years with a lot of career gain and recognition from all of those things. Gosh, wait till Jupiter gets into your 11th house as well. That'll double down on what I say starting on the 3rd week of May, add a year. Leo, Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, this is so sweet. I have a Virgo daughter. So anytime I do Virgo, I'm Virgo rising daughter, Virgo sun. My son, S-O-N, is a Virgo, S-U-N. My best friend is a Virgo rising and a sun. I mean, I'm surrounded by Virgos. Okay, so Virgo, let's get rolling. Let's talk about what Pluto did before we talk about what he will do. Pluto was going through your 5th house since 2008, and you have been deeply transformed by sexuality and romance. And this may have been difficult, right? And childbirth and pregnancy and your own children have really, really been the sort of flowing to you. Sure, Pluto here. But Pluto doesn't do everything easy and nice, right? So, did you have a toxic, relationship with a narcissist? Like my daughter did. Did you have a, dating relationship? Did you have some difficulties that were really traumatizing with your children? Did you have really big challenges regarding finding your creative impulse? Did your entrepreneurial business go through a rocky ups and downs, death and rebirth, but maybe power as well? 5th house matters were really highlighted for you. There's no doubt about it, some of you could have received some significant wealth through your business as an entrepreneur during that time of 2008 to 2024. It's not quite over, right? September, October into mid-November, there's more Pluto and Capricorn to finish strong. So keep that in mind. Now, Pluto moving into Aquarius. This is something you felt last March 23rd to June 11th, and now it's back again and will be for the next 20 years or till 2044. And basically, you could get a teaser taste of what it was like last year. Sorry, my neck. But this is the getting into the real Monty. Hermes and Fortuna, the asteroid Fortuna and the asteroid Hermes, are sitting with Pluto at the time of this ingress to zero Aquarius with the sun. Now, if you have a pet that is elderly, aging or elderly, perhaps there can be a loss of a pet during this transit, but also the introduction of a very powerful and very important new animal into your life as well. Starting, January 2021, add what? Add, several months until September. This is really great for you if you want to buy a new property or rent a new property as well this year, because it flows to that Venus in your fourth house of land, property, and real estate. And this is tendencies and rentals, but it also flows to the North Node, basically, and mortgages. So property purchase, buy, sell, and rentals highlighted for many Virgos until the month of September, and then back again, in November, December. The energy here of a square to Jupiter can bring you into some conflict regarding judicial matters or legal matters, especially legal matters regarding father figures. Or you may be trying to work through some kind of karmic debt or real life debt, and you need to kind of square off with a legal or justice matter. With a North Node in your eighth house, some of you Virgos are coming into money through marital partners or father figures. And that could be what we're seeing here as well, that has to play out this year. And you might have to kind of get the legalese all tucked away, the judges, the courts, the legal matters around those things. But the trine of power, the triangle of power, is going to bring you into greater levels of financial earnings, second house, and career and reputation. And all of you Virgos, while you're going through this death and rebirth in the sixth house of work and work routines, therefore transforming the work you do. Some of you will retire from work. Some of you will start a new whole job or career path. And the moon up there, a last quarter moon, finishing up one career path or direction in order to go into something new. So a lot of you are coming into this energy over the next till 2044 of a huge amount of power in the Artha houses of resources, money, and work. This is your game to win or to lose. If you've had a health problem that's been bothering you, Pluto going through your sixth house will uncover the root of the problem. You will go below the surface with your practitioner in health, with your healer, with your own resources to figure out what the hell is going on with your body or your health, and you will be able to resolve it. So Pluto will uncover or reveal to you what was hidden that has plagued you in your health. He's not going to kill you here, okay? At all. He can't reach your body from here. He's in aversion. So he's going to go into the underworld of your health challenges and reveal and heal, or help you see the answer. A father figure can help you pay off a debt. That's for sure as well. In the near term of 2024, you may have to let go, surrender, and release some kind of work or some kind of food style as well. South Node in the second. What are you eating, ingesting, smoking, drinking that's not good for you that you have to let go of in order to transform and heal, Pluto, by revealing and uncovering why you're having a health challenge. Health challenges related to things you ingest are on the menu, and resolving them in 2024, including, yes, addictions. The sun rules the 12th house of self-undoing and addictions, and is with Pluto, death of an addiction for a lot of Virgos. That nicotine, that vape, that wine, that beer, whatever you do, it may be the final straw in 2024 as you put that baby to bed and let it go. All righty, Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. This is a story of Pluto since 2008 to 2024 in Capricorn. We're going to talk about what Pluto was doing before we talk about what he will do. Pluto in the sign of Capricorn. This is like all about that family of origin, your childhood. All the fourth house matters have been deeply, deeply transformed. This is the relationship to your home, your mom especially. I know a couple of Libras who went through their younger people, parental divorce and separation in two homes and stuff. Deep death, rebirth, regeneration, rising from the ashes regarding your mother relationship, your mom and dad in particular, maybe the way you were raised, your childhood stories. buying and selling real estate, powering up there as well. Could have been a story for you over the last 20 years. And don't forget, the fourth house has to do with the ancestral stuff and stuff that's often passed down to you. And Pluto may have revealed family secrets and ancestral secrets that allowed you to reveal and heal and let go of them. So you're no longer carrying on your shoulders the burdens of those who came before you. You're not holding on anymore to what is not yours to carry. And Pluto now moves into Aquarius. He will be back in Capricorn for the last hurrah, September, October, November. I'll be doing a whole video on that next fall. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications, especially if you're watching in my live premiere today. As I'm airing this probably on Thursday. What date will Thursday be? Everyone, drum roll, please. I'm recording for my Patreon community, early access ad-free, on Monday, January 15th. 15th, 16th. You're either getting this on the 17th or the 18th, probably the 18th, because I'm traveling by air on the 17th. Okay. So sorry about that, Libra, back to you. As Pluto's ingress bakes in for about a year, a square to Jupiter. Be very careful. Okay, let's start off with Pluto's moving into your fifth house. Power in entrepreneurship, creativity, sexuality, and romance, or transformation, death, and rebirth and regeneration through that. Also through children, fertility, and pregnancy. Powerful death, rebirth, and regeneration through those themes. And it's really intense for artists and creatives as well. Now, honestly, if you want to be an entrepreneur full time and Pluto enters into your fifth house, it's going to say, yes, you can do this. Don't hesitate to be, entrepreneurial and ditch the corporate job or something. But, seed astrology for your personal chart, but a general theme there. Now, as Pluto's going through this part of your sky, and he ingresses on the 21st of January, he's talking to Mercury, or a version of him, Hermes, the asteroid, and Fortuna. There are windfalls to be had in the fifth house, especially through gaming and lotteries. Fortuna, games of chance, where the wheel spins, nobody knows, up and down, and Hermes, games of chance. I'm just going to say, just for Libra, it is not too bad an idea, especially January 20th to the end of the month, to buy a lottery ticket. Okay. But don't listen to us for financial advice or health, for astrology people. Don't listen to us for that. That's not our job, or edutainment. All right. But you definitely can win something if you want with this transit. Now, energetically, especially with Venus in the third house, go to the local lotto stand and buy a lottery ticket. Everyone's afraid who has children that Pluto going through your fifth house is the death of your children. I don't think that's very likely or very common. I'm not saying it won't happen ever to anyone, but it's also going to be very deeply transformative and potent for your children. Generically, but most especially a firstborn child. Okay. So keep your eye on your firstborn over the next 20 years till 2044. Also, because Pluto is in a square to Jupiter, just be very careful with your 401k investment monies, and that Jupiter wants to be abundant and he wants you to go out and buy a ton of new crypto altcoins or something. And I don't know about that. Pluto's squaring Jupiter, even though it's a wealth yoga in a way, it's a harsh one. There may be some hard won lessons about money loss in investments if you're not careful in the next year, by the end of this year. So especially maybe till the middle of this year. So be very, very cautious around those matters. That said, this is opening up your axis of air trine power. And the triangle of power is you Libra air. You are powerful. You are powered up. You are feeling the flow back of a trine from Pluto in your fifth house. This can generate a huge amount of creativity. This is going to make you, like, if you want to suddenly quit your job and write books for the rest of your life or do art or something, go for it. But this is also what brings you the deepest level of true, potent, powerful joy and enjoyment and inspiration in life. That Pluto question mark with the solar energy here, the sun could be very much about firing up your vitality, flowing back at you. And the South Node is saying, let go in 24 of the identity that doesn't serve you. Oof, I don't want to do that anymore. That's not me. I'm not joyful, powerful, vitalized, anymore by myself and what I am doing and who I am. So this is going to transform a lot of Libra's identity by the end of the year. And if you have a sexual identity issue, like, you really think you're a guy and not a girl, or vice versa, or you're not sure if you're hetero and you're bi, or you're bi and you think you should be straight, or you're straight and you should be gay, or whatever, any of those big questions around your sexuality, for a lot of Libras, transformation, rebirth, and regeneration in 2024. Pluto flowing to your ninth house of God can dramatically change the way you see the world through the lens of your spiritual belief and your ideological beliefs and your philosophy of life. So that can change for you in the next year, but it's also the ninth house, the house that goes with book publishing, with court and legal matters, with father figures, with things to do with foreign countries and foreign lands. So you could get involved in a new romance with a foreigner, or an academic environment romance, or somebody, or a legal matter that works out to power up in your behalf. You could definitely find a book publishing contract or deal. Fifth house energies are about the creative stuff you generate, and the ninth house is about the publications that come from it. And therefore, even that can be what I'm seeing here. So, or start a new podcast and publish that. So these things look good on you, especially with the moon, popular podcast, popular book in the ninth house with the people. Those are themes for you in 2024. But the broad story is until 2044, all things you, first house and fifth house and ninth house are alive. And these are Dharma houses. You are aligning more deeply with true north, true purpose, true alignment of your being with your purpose over the next 2 decades until 2044. That is a story for you, Librans, for sure. Alrighty. It's also the same kind of dharmic story for the Geminis and Aquarians, but we'll get to that, as we keep going. All right. Moving on to the next sign. Before I do, this is a long video. I need to take another drink of water. Don't forget to hit the like buttons, don't forget to share. Don't forget to do all that stuff. A little shout out to some of the other people that are my regulars: Serge LaBelle, Michael Thrash, Jupiter 8, Stephen the Jupiterian. Who am I forgetting? I don't have my list with me. I think I'm done because my brain won't remember. I'll be right back and we'll continue the story. Okay, guys, let's get back into this year ahead with the Pluto story as he moves to Aquarius. And we're going back to the charts now that I've refreshed myself on an extremely long video I think I'm recording here. So we're next onto the sign of Scorpio. And listen for your ascendant and then your moon and sun, or whichever way, but your ascendant most accurate, as I say in the beginning of every single video, and explain why. All right, so Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. What was Jupiter doing since 2008 to 2024? But moving through Capricorn, right? This is an old story for you. It did flow to your ascendant, but lots of transformation and change in neighbors and neighborhood. Okay. Lots of dramatic changes regarding sibling, especially younger, maybe dramatic changes in relationships to the neighbors, neighborhood, and siblings. Maybe some dramatic transformation and changes regarding commuting, traveling, skills-based learning, teaching, writing projects, your online social media life, and world. Those areas of reality were being deeply Plutonianized, right? Now that's over. And we're moving into the Pluto in Aquarius narrative, except for September, October through to November the 19th. Otherwise, it's on we go till 2044 with Pluto in Aquarius. If you go back, by the way, to March of last year, March 23rd to June 11th, that's a little taster teaser that Pluto gave you as he moved into your fourth house of property, home, land, and real estate, and family of origin matters. So things that go deep into the psyche, things that go deep under the surface of your reality. Now, when I say deep into the psyche and deep into the surface of your reality, I mean, like, the stories of your family? Do you know the secrets they may hold? Do you know what your great grandpa and great grandfather did? And is everyone keeping a lid on it? These kinds of things are in that fourth house. as well as the mother and the mother relationship, transforming, rebirthing, regenerating. Sometimes Pluto here can bring legacy wealth from a mother or father figure, not just mother figure, but also money through your mother. And it doesn't have to be because mother's passing away, even. Pluto just means the mother becomes wealthy, especially with the moon in the eighth house of chunky money. It can indicate in 2024 you're going to get a chunk of money from your mom. This moon is baking in for 2024, or between now and October. My son's a Scorpio rising, and I'm going to be giving him some money, his wealthy mom, for his wedding. But keep in mind that you're going to wealth up a little bit on property, land, home, and real estate in 24, but more importantly, all through 2024 to 44. Also, with that moon in the eighth house, some of you will be able to buy or sell real estate or property in 2024 and be very successful at it. Also, the energy here of squaring Jupiter means that there can be some tension in a client or business partnership or significant other relationship coming into this year, especially the first half of 2024, June the 20th, 21st, till the end of May. And that Jupiter square energy can say something like, okay, is my partner in love or business, Jupiter energy, expansive, buoyant, and lucky, not down or having a different agenda than me regarding things to do with what we're doing in and from and about our home. I want to sell the home, my partner doesn't. I've got all this wealth coming from my family of origin, and my partner is gnarly about it. I'm not sure what to do with the Jupiter square. It means that legal agreements regarding property, land, real estate, and inheritances can be a little bit complicated in 2024. But you do have the triangle power. Remember, I talked about how this is a trigon in the beginning, or a triangle of power, a trine of air power. And air power for you is going to power you up over the next 20 years, or until 2044 to be precise, through home, property, land, real estate, investments in precious metals if you're an investor, or investments in things that come from the earth, alrighty? And while some people will put gas and oil as a Neptune story, and I understand why, I'm also going to include those things: gas, oil, precious metals, silver, gold, things that come from the earth, Pluto in the fourth house. These can be very good wealth ups for you, as well as buying land, swaths of land, property, being a real estate baron over the next 20 years. Because Pluto is flowing as well to your eighth house, is going to give you an extra bit of luck with inheritances and power and success with inheritances, taxes, investments, stock investments. And again, we're back to real estate investments as well. Buying and selling of, as well as legacy wealth and money coming from the family of origin, including father figures. Well, this is indeed the house of the mother. The fourth house has the sun conjunct Pluto with Mercury, deals and negotiations, Hermes actually, and Fortuna. I would say that quite a few you could receive some father figure wealth coming through your life between now and the end of 2024, or announcements that money is on the way. So look forward to that if that's something you would look forward to. And also, the power trine is trining into the 12th house. If you're somebody who makes money from foreign lands, foreign shores, and all of that, international companies, you work for an international company, or you generate business through international borderless revenue, PayPal, Stripe, this is going to increase your success. Even if you just work for an international company, it's going to increase your success in that company. The sun is the ruler of your Leo house, right? And so that's your career. So international company careers, foreign lands, foreign shore revenues are all through your career, can all be really highlighted in the next 20 years. With the South Node here, you might need to let go of an addiction, self-undoing, or bad habit. You might have to let go of an addiction in particular, and this powerful Pluto sun can give you the will and the vitality and the strength and the power of soul purpose to dump the addiction, especially with the moon, which brings us comfort in the eighth house. This speaks to me for many Scorpios, the ability to let go of that vape, cigarette, nicotine, wine habit, weed habit, whatever your thing is, it's not good for you. You can release it, surrender it, let it go in 2024. Now, secrets from your family of origin, Pluto can reveal them. So there's a very strong possibility this year you're going to find out something about your mother or father, or even further up your ancestral line, that you just didn't know. Pluto uncovers that which is hidden and reveals it to us. He digs up under the surface of reality with a conjunction to the sun and an asteroid Hermes, most likely about your father. What don't you know about your father or your grandfather or father figure in your family of origin that you're going to find out? And I think it will be good to know. Okay. It'd be good for your longer range eighth house money. So good for your foreign shore revenue or international company revenue. Finally, houses 12, 4, and 8 are in Indian astrology moksha or liberation, spiritual liberation houses. It's a soulful deep dive energy. Pluto will take a lot of Scorpios into the depths of their soul and out the other end between now and 2044. Get ready for that, especially feeling it in a positive way in 2024 with a flow to the south node in the 12th house, which is its own spiritual liberation type of story. So if you're looking for an awakening, a spiritual awakening, or deeper understanding of the divine, of God, of the meaning of your life, of who you are beyond your little individual self, this is a 2024 and beyond narrative for all Scorpios to really move into that level of power. All right, Sagittarius. Pluto has been moving through Capricorn, which is your second house of earnings and spending and savings and things you put in your mouth and resources and possessions. He's been doing this journey in Capricorn since 2008. A lot of Sagittarius have been dealing with power struggles with their addictions, power struggles with their weight, their diet, things they eat. A lot of Sagittarius have been dealing with having to transform, transmute, and rebirth and die and be born again in regarding the things you ingest, through also things to do with jaw and face, maybe transforming your visage through dental work, surgical work, facial rejuvenation, or something. Also, with this Pluto transit through Capricorn, your second house coming to an end, don't forget you still have September, October to mid-November. This is a story where you're finalizing anything to do with your voice. Now, voice can be vocation and calling, and a lot of you have been like, are you my purpose? Are you my calling? Are you my voice? Are you my vocation? Since 2008, trying to figure it out and die and be born again into various iterations of purpose. Some of you may, as a Sag, have careered out, like quit your job, ended a career path, terminated, Pluto, dead, dying, one path, and are have regenerated into something new, or trying to regenerate like a Phoenix rising from retirement into something new. And I think that September, October, November will bring it if you haven't figured that out yet, but we'll be doing a separate video on that. Now, as Pluto has moved in on September 2021, depending on where you live, 0 degrees of your third house, flowing in a sextile to you, I'll say one thing, Sagittarius, it feels easier, right? This is a lot like more of a Pluto love up in a sextile, the nature of Venus, towards your ascendant, early Sag, sun and moon rising, Sag, sun, moon, and rising signs, first 5 degrees of Sag, get the most Pluto juice directly this year, next year, and the year after, directly coming at you in a sextile. This can inform a new style, a new direction, your neighbors, neighborhood relations, siblings, all right, writing projects, your daily life, where you live, your neighborhood kind of environment, really transforming and radically changing over the next 20 years until 2044. And if your floating IC is here, which I didn't mention for everybody, but in whole sign houses, your IC can float in the 3rd or the 5th or the 4th, sometimes the 6th and the 1st, depending on how far north or south you're born. This can look like a change of home, a radical, profound, and a very big change of home and land and where you live. With the Pluto ingress here, connected to Hermes, there could be some writing project that needs to be started, new beginning, 0 degrees, and you're going to tackle a new writing project. With the sun, it can be a very career-oriented and very successful writing project that needs to be tackled. They can bring you great fortunes, especially in the world of book publishing. So maybe if it's not a story of starting a book, it's a story of a book becoming successful as a result of this one that's already published and just becoming published in 24, becoming very successful perhaps in 2024. And the sun and Pluto will be squaring Jupiter, and all through until like the end of May, there's a broad square from Pluto to Jupiter. So the story can be something like Jupiter is like, do you have to quit your day job? Do you hate your day job? Are you in a job you don't like? Or do you have health problems that need to be accounted for and require some kind of travel in order to correct them. These are possibilities. But certainly Jupiter here can be, with the square to Pluto kind of baking in 24, some serious problems between the work and the third house matters. Like, you're driving around a lot, you're commuting too much. Something's got to give. The opportunity at work isn't jiving with what Pluto's trying to transform in your third house of social media, writing, creativity. And maybe some of you just have to make a change. The work can be very prosperous until the end of May, but there needs to be a change of something, like the daily fishbowl, as my colleague Adam Ellenbus calls the third house. Third house. What goes on in the daily fishbowl of your life? Is it your neighbors, the people you're hanging with, the social groups, the things you do in the social settings? Something's got to be transformed in 24 and allowing you to be more bountiful in your career and workspace, as well as your health space, where Jupiter is sitting. Now, the triangle of air goodness that's being activated until 2044 with this Pluto story in Aquarius is your following houses: your marriage house and your 11th house of great gains from your career. So that's a money house, right? You get money from the 11th house. You can. Also reputation, career, and greater influence, the actualization of your dreams and wishes, support from elder siblings. We're talking about a 20-year story, support from friends and allies who want to benefit you and become very helpful to you, but also a huge amount of power in how you reach out to your audience, your marketplace, and your marriage partner. Now, marriage partner stuff is interesting because, the moon is there. Right. So it's trying to bring some kind of, it's a glass quarter moon. You're pushing through strong to finish a mission in a marriage or a mission in a situation to do with your audience or marketplace or business partnerships. Chiron North Node in the 5th house of romantic love, though, can indicate there's some struggles in a sexual and romantic love relationship that you're trying to put to bed and finish up or complete or bring to rest in a powerful, transformative way in 2024. I mean, if your love life has felt like a struggle, or this relationship feels like, you're on some kind of like marathon mission, then there's some kind of healing, perhaps, as a result of Pluto trining your marriage relationship house, right? And sextile in the chironic wound in your house of sexuality, love, and romance. Now, when this is water, I'll wait till I'm finished with you guys. With Pluto in the 3rd house, now you can ask other people who've gone through it. Like ask a my brain. Ask a Capricorn 3rd. I mean, my brain can't even remind myself. Ask a Scorpio rising, Sun, Moon, or Scorpio rising what it was like to have Pluto in the 3rd house since 2008, if you want to get the gist of that. But here we have it for you now, starting now until 2000. Go back to March the 23rd to June the 11th of 2023, you got a flavor of the 3rd house. Like, what was going on in the trips, travel, local neighborhood environment, skills-based education, things to do with siblings, what was going on there. Now, look, Pluto Sun can mean power and wealth from a sibling, particularly younger, but it doesn't have to be. And therefore, you could get some money from a sibling or a neighbor, or you could wealth up through, I hate to say it, some kind of bequeathment from a sibling. It's possible for some Sagittarius that could be a story here. Finally, there may be some problems with pets in 2024. Jupiter in the house of pets, squaring Pluto in the house of neighborhood, neighbors, and travel. And there could be some conflict with a neighbor or travel plans regarding a pet. I keep that in mind, 24, even though it sounds like a minor deal. If it's a Pluto problem, it's not a little one, right? This is a big problem regarding a pet. I don't want to make you worried, but unfortunately, pets do pass away, and Jupiter is often the god of blessed endings, and there can be an unexpected Uranian sudden passing of a pet. And, with 3rd house matters involved, because of a travel thing or a pet traveling and, being ill on a journey, or a pet getting into a squabble with a neighbor's dog and not surviving the battle. All right. Especially if it's a cat being attacked by a pit bull or something. Be careful for those things, but you can't avoid destiny. But that's kind of a weird way that Jupiter, Uranus squaring Pluto in the 3rd house may play out for some of you. Don't let your gerbil, rabbit, or guinea pig, or fish, or cat out in the wilderness of your neighborhood. Okay. More said and done, all said and done. The 11th, 3rd, and 6th house, right? I mean 7th house are relational houses or karma houses in Indian astrology. So you're doing a lot of one-on-one, one-on-many, and one-on-self energy. You're like in relatingness with new ideas and new conversations and new communications, and your relational abilities are expanding and powering up in the next 2 decades. That's your superpower. Maybe you should call this your superpower, your Pluto superpower, all signs. All right, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. It is a story of Pluto having moved through a sign of you since 2008. You get the gold medal award for surviving. Let me take a sip of my water for a sec because I've been talking for 2 hours and get right back to you, Capricorn. You're going to get a longer talk, I think. All right, back we go into the deep dive. Oh my God. I don't know how Candace Marie does so many long videos. Bless her soul. Guys, I might be a medium term. Like, if I was a marathoner, give me a 10K run, not a marathon. Here we go. I'm losing my voice. Yeah, I'm gonna say due diligence here, but all right. So Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising. You've been dealing with Pluto in the house of you since 2008, the sign near your sun, near your moon, near your ascendant. The moon could be mother death, son, father figure death, mother figures deaths, dying of those figures. I know a couple of Capricorns who lost their mother to death through 2000 and what? 8 to 2024. So astrology does do real life, but also your ascendant. You might have died and you're not listening to this, but you might have also experienced a deep death and rebirth of self. Or if it's the sun, the death of your career, the moon, the death of your home and homeland. These are big energies that you've been through since 2008. And it's almost done. Pluto's back September the 1st to 19th of November, and then he's complete forever in this lifetime for you, especially if your ascendant is between 27 and 29 degrees of Capricorn, then, or your sun or your moon, then you're really feeling the last bit of this September, October, November. I'll do a whole separate video for you guys then, because it's a big deal. But now you have this Pluto ingress into your second house of earnings, right? And by the way, Caps, you've been thinking about the real meaning, the deeper meaning of power. All right. What does power mean to you? How are you authentically powerful? How are you sourcing power from a place of deep selfhood? Now you have Pluto moving into your second house, and this can bring you wealth. You can really power up and become wealthy. Pluto is a wealth god. You can be powerful and wealthy and authoritative in your earnings and your money and your spending and your resources and your possessions over the next 2 decades until 2044. Now, Pluto in your second house made a test run last year, March 23rd to June 11th, giving you a flavor, foretaste, or foreshadow of what is possible. Yeah, Pluto in your second house can deeply transform your values in life and what you value. He can bring you more wealth regarding resources. You may own very wealthy things, like a mansion, a luxury car. Also your spending may become Plutonian, like the big spender, the wealthy one. And not overnight, right? It's going to be a 20-year story until 2044. Now, when Pluto enters into Aquarius here, he can also transform your food style. Like if you have always thought you could get away with drinking, booze every day or eating foods that are bad for you, Pluto can give you reveal what was hidden from your view about how this is impacting your health and your body, especially because Pluto is flowing in his ingress into a last quarter moon in the house of sickness. That's your 6th house, and flowing to reveal to you the way you're undermining your better health through your diet style. Pluto can also bring you greater work opportunities, but we're going to get to that in a minute. So Pluto in the second house can definitely increase your wealth, though, and that's a new story for you. And it's really going to come into being more fully in 2024. And Pluto is squaring Jupiter. So there's a bit of a conflict in the beginning of this for the first 6 months, in particular 2024, where there's intensity around building up your earnings, money, wealth, resources, self-esteem, and values is not so copacetic with what Jupiter's trying to do. Fun, pleasure, joy, enjoyment, romance, sexuality, children, fertility, all of that kind of stuff. No doubt for you, this is a fertility transit. A lot of you people who are egg bearer women, therefore, can be pregnant during Jupiter's transit here in the fifth house. Started last year, May, continues to the last week of May this year, basically, but also can bring you grandchildren, just so you know. Now, why would Pluto care? Well, Pluto's not doing too much, but he could be saying, I want to hold on to money and power, and I don't want to share it with my children, my grandchildren. I don't want to have to support someone else, that kind of stuff. So you might be very much looking at how to powerfully contain or resource yourself while squaring off with that lover, that child, that kind of thing. Or just a gritty opportunity, Jupiter, to do something that's financially beneficial or even entrepreneurial coming up in 2024, but you may not be so sure it's in alignment with your values, for example. Not all money is good money, right? And ultimately, Pluto will say your triangle of power, your superpowers, is your second house, your sixth house, and your 10th. These are Artha houses, resources, money, career, and work houses. So this is an area for no matter how old you are. I don't care if you think you're retired. You Capricorns are going to be rebirthing yourself in a work, vocation, career sort of direction. That's the only way I can say it. There's no other way to put it. Now, if this is true, which it probably will be, there's a last quarter moon in the sixth house of work. You may be finishing up an old style or pushing through to finish up old work directions or whatever, completing something to get ready to start something new, or you're just pushing hard like a woman or man on a mission to generate some kind of job or career success. But the South Node in your 10th house of career and reputation, there's still definitely a letting go, a surrender going on here in 2024. Not till 2044, just in 2024, almost saying you have to pull the plug, take the air out of the inner tube of some old career identity so something new can come in later, like in 2025. As well. This is an energy with Pluto, with Hermes, the messenger of the gods, emails, phone calls, text messages, and news, very likely coming through pretty early on in the narrative. Most likely in, I'd say sometime, well, certainly before May, but it could be even much closer in, let's say, January 2021, when Pluto ingresses into Aquarius, through to no later than end of February, emails, phone calls, or news or information coming through about a career work opportunity. And by the way, Fortuna is there. I think it's going to feel fortunate. Also, Mars is rising on January 27th in the house of you. Yay, you. And this is going to really power you up anyway for 2 years. Wait till you get to that video. You guys are just turning over a new leaf, a new level of wealth, power, attainment, and success. Sun can be about career, moon can be about home and nest, and your rising sign is all about you. And also, you may benefit greatly from foreign shores, foreign lands, borderless income and revenue, and international companies, international sources of money, just because of Venus, 28 degrees baked into your 12th house or so, 27, 28 degrees during this Pluto ingress, kind of speaking to a flow to matters to do with money and the 12th house. Hmm. Okay, moving into the next story. Well, no, I'm done. Yeah. All right, Aquarius, I'm one of you. We are sun, moon, and rising. I'm rising. And we have this Pluto ingress. Well, we tasted it last year, but let's go back to what Pluto did do. 2008 to 24, Pluto has been and will continue to be September, October, November, back again in Capricorn in our 12th house. For me, it was my Awakened Dreamer blog, spiritual awakening, enlightenment stories. Okay. Had two full-blown enlightenment episodes. She probably wondered what happened. She got de-enlightened, but it's more like, I guess I have a new baseline of equanimity. But seriously, it can be very transformative to do with soul work. You may have bust through the family of origin, ancestral line, and many incarnations of karmic junk in the trunk, family secrets, ancestral healing. You may have found yourself being deeply transformed as you woke up to the nature of true self and reality. This has been a moksha liberation energy on steroids for a lot of Aquarians ever since 2008. Then We also may have been dealing with power over addictions and looking at squarely at what kind of power addictive substances have. Is the wine drinking you, or are you drinking the wine, I used to say. So, this has been an area of curiosity, interest, and spiritual growth as well as foreign lands, foreign travel, and foreign shores, and powerful people from foreign shores being a part of your narrative in transformative ways since 2008, and maybe back again September, October into mid-November. But as Pluto moves into Aquarius on the 21st of the month, depending on where you live, Pluto is opening up a double doorway of energy to you personally. Yes, you, with Hermes, the messenger. Do you need to be a messenger? Do you need to be a deliverer of ideas to the world? Do you need to speak something into the reality? Do you need to write something? Pluto, Hermes, conjunct Fortuna on Pluto, the asteroids with the sun, solar energy, soul, vitality, purpose. Boom. For all Aquarians, there's a pitch pipe, like they do for the choir. God, I can't sing on key. It never made any difference to me. I'm totally tone deaf. But anyway, I was in a choir trying to be an alto. So, but how we wish to message something, ideate something, share something, speak something into the world, communicate something is the key to 2024. That's what Pluto's telling us to focus on, especially in career matters, especially as we apply it to seventh house, audience, marketplace, and others, which the sun is a ruler of. So that's a big deal for all Aquarians at some level. You are the one with the message. You're not receiving the message. You are the messenger. And we are the lead goose for humanity because the conjunction of Saturn, Jupiter at 0 Aquarius in December 2020 allowed us to step into the forefront for the world at large. So every Aquarian sun, moon, and rising is on a mission for the next 2 decades, like it or not, even if just living your life as an example is the mission itself. And this is a story about message fortunes and fortunes changing through what we wish to ideate, message, speak, right into this world. Pluto writing in Aquarius is big, broad things, right? Spiritual philosophy, and God is dead, nihilism, I don't know, The End of History, remember that book, or even Marianne Williamson's The Healing of America. Like, we write big things in Aquarius, especially with Pluto there. We don't write like a memoir of our childhood trauma. It's not that kind of thing. It's a movement. It changes society. We communicate, ideate, and write things that can change society at large, transform it, if we're going to do anything at all. And so that's the general idea. Now, when this ingress starts off, there's a square to Jupiter. And Jupiter is in the house of property, land, home, and real estate. And he's quite happy. He's bountiful and generating wealth and prosperity by what we do in and from our home and where we are and where we want to be at home. And we're lucky in home, property, and land until the end of May. And this started last May, and that's been true for me. I hope it has for you. And energetically, there's nothing terrible about the square from Jupiter from the 4th, other than the bounteous goodness of the home is also being pushed back by Pluto, who wants us to power up in some way. So there can be some kind of unexpected developments in and around the home, because especially with the April conjunction of Jupiter and Uranus, that will unfold in a way that, you are really feeling like you're becoming quite powerful. And don't be afraid of Pluto in your house of you. I don't know anyone really. Yes, I had some people with near-death experiences with Pluto going over their ascendant, and this is going to apply to Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising in 2024, let's say let's be generous, 0 and 5 degrees of Aquarius, feeling this Pluto energy in the next 3 years, right? 4 years, 5 years, more so than the later born Aquarius, is who could feel it all the way down in 2040, for goodness sakes, to 44. But all Aquarius is feel the vibe. If Darth Vader walks in the room, you can hear him breathing, right? Someone like as Chanel perfume sprayed excessively all over them, because Pluto as well, and they walk in the room, you don't have to be beside them if they overspray, right? So I guess I'm sort of saying Pluto moving into Aquarius, every Aquarian is feeling it. You do not need to be at the degree where Pluto's sitting to feel the vibe. So you want to power up to be powerful. That's basically it, authentically. And Capricorns just went through it. So talk to Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising friends and family and ask them how they survived. Because if you don't go deep, you don't go powerful, if you don't go into it like with a kind of like, I only have one life to live or something like that, I may as well go all out. You may be not liking Pluto vibe, really, because Pluto is not superficial. Pluto makes the big things small and the small things big. And, he's atomic bomb guy. So, yeah, you got a bit of a detonation over the next 20 years until 2044. But if you're ready for that, and I think a lot of Aquarians can handle, we are the water bearer pouring the healing waters out for humanity. We are usually trying to be of humanitarian service, invention, freedom loving, sometimes even a bit more like the iconoclast or the shepherd for the sheep. We're willing to take the heat in order to support the greater good and humanity at large. Then I think Pluto and Aquarians do work together a bit well. The American Revolution was a Capricorn story, but the Constitution formation was a Pluto and Aquarius story, forming the rules and the ways of being that impact a larger group of people in the pursuit of happiness and the right to bear arms. Okay, now let's go into the trine. You are powered up in your fifth house of entrepreneurship, creativity, performing, money and money luck, speculations and investments, competition, children, inspiration, motivation, enthusiasm. This is a new area of power for you. If you have never been creative, it's time to start figuring out what do you want to do in the muse-driven world? Are you a writer, a painter, a singer, a dancer, a songwriter, an artist of some kind? Can you be entrepreneurially absolutely frigging successful? If I think a six-figure business is a success, which is what I have now, then this is a seven-figure business. If you have a five-figure business, all right, this is your six-figure business. You can move your entrepreneurial prowess into the next level in the next 2 decades. At the same time, you're powering up in the house of publications, book publishing, academic environments, foreign countries, foreign shores, humanitarian and philanthropic organizations and endeavors. You might become a philanthropist in the next 2 decades. You might become the head of the dean of a major school. You might publish a book or become a publisher. With Pluto, publishing a book, become the publisher. And the book publisher is powerful, or you are going to dominate in international world affairs. So Aquarius are moving into this story. But in 2024, South Node, you have to let go of something too. Let go of that book project, let go of that publication, let go of that academic environment, let go of that foreign country, let go of that legal and court matter. Just now, just in 2024, surrender, release, let go, because it's a South Node, right? And it's not, but you could still have some karmic past life residue powering you up in your ninth house of God. And this is not too bad if you want to develop a new spiritual practice that feels deeply familiar to you and you want to lean in, as Sheryl Sandberg would say, but instead of to the boardroom, you're going to lean into your inspiration for divine reflection, contemplating the mind of God, becoming a, adept meditator or something. But hey, still, book publishing is a new story for you. And I got Deep Code Astrology. I've got The Coming Age of Miracles, The Way of Miracles. I've got, a couple fiction books in the hopper. As an Aquarius rising, I'm looking forward to getting back to my screenplay writing, my other writing, because I am an award-winning short fiction writer, literary, etc. Not to tout my horn. I'm hopefully inspiring other Aquarians to see that your new axis is the axis of 9, 5, and 1. And those are Kama houses about ideas and relating, one on one, one on many, and one on in self, yourself, in your own inner self. The trine also activates powerful connections to children and grandchildren, and those areas become quite powerful for the next 2 decades. Grandchildren, 9th house, children in the 5th house. And romantic sexual love as well. And third marriage is powering up as well. Third long-term committed love marriages that are monogamous, living together, or legally binding. Those become highly activated. And finally, I would say to you guys and all of us, because Pluto is in the house of us, and we look at that energy of us embodying some Plutonian energy, and we square away with our set. We oppose the 7th with this energy, right? Eek. We will not suffer fools gladly. There's a lot of us, the energy of authentic power, that will kind of want to gaze at our marriage partner, gaze at our business partner, gaze at our audience as a Pluto energy. So you will no longer be Miss or Mr. Nice Guy. You will be like, hopefully a good mafia boss, right? I have some Don Corleone quotes in my Pluto video from last year. All those Pluto videos are in the description box. And, think of the Don Corleone, Godfather energy, Godmother energy that you can embody in life and be extremely and completely powerful and powered up. All right, moving last to and best to the Pisces sun, moon, and rising. If you're a Pisces, sun, moon, and rising, you had Pluto moving through Capricorn since 2008 in your 11th house of good spirit. This is a place where you might have discovered or encountered a lot of powerful and wealthy people in your social groups from your career often, but also who wished to help you in some way, to benefit you, to be an ally or a benefactor. Now, Pluto here can also look like death of a sibling, because it's an older sibling house. And so a death of an older sibling for many Pisces could have happened, or death of the relationship anyway, between 2008 and 2024. Pluto is back in this part of your sky in September, October to mid-November, and there can be a last transformation in those themes. Pluto can bring great career gains, and a lot of Pisces might have experienced a great deal of financial success in their career of choice, and perks, rewards, what do you call it, promotions, 2008 through to 2024. Also, Pisces, the 11th house is where you sort of visualize or plot your world domination. Like, what do you want to achieve in the next 5 years, 10 years? What are your long range goals, plans, and dreams for your life? And therefore, Pluto made you dream big, powerful dreams, right? Nothing better, nothing best. Plutonian dreams, right? They're not small, right? They have a sense of, being the hopefully superhero of that part of your sky. Now, Pluto moving into Aquarius is very different energy, completely different. Like, because when Pluto was in Capricorn, he activated your 7th house of marriage. He activated your 3rd house of journeys and travel. Some people got through marriage, divorce, ending, separations, new beginnings with powerful new partners, also flowing to trips, travel, all that. Houses 11, 3, and 7 were on the spotlight. That was the earth trine of power for you last time around. But now you're alive to witness the air trine of power activating here, and was active in the 80s, not the 80s. Well, back when Pluto and Libra era was in, but not 80s, but anyway, back in the day. 70s. So this is like, listen to what I just said if you want. For me, as an Aquarius rising, describing Pluto going through my 12th, because this is an enlightenment energy for sure. Now, Pluto is with Hermes, the messenger, and Fortuna. And so you could get messages in your dreams, insights and downloads coming through in 2024, because the ingress involves the asteroid Hermes. But Fortuna for fortunes is there. And so also it looks like in 2024, financial opportunities from international companies, foreigners abroad, borderless income, especially PayPal, Stripe, but any kind of connection to a foreign place, foreigner, that increases your financial success is very possible for you in 2024, but also through to 2044. That's how long Pluto will be in your 12th house. Pluto in your 12th house can also have a profoundly transformative effect if you experience the death of a father figure, or an elder, a male who you look up to as almost old enough to be patriarchal toward you. Because Pluto sun in the house of hospitals can look like a illness, death, or passing of a father figure in 2024. That can also be very potent and powerful for you in a way that it activates successful legacy wealth transfer, inheritance monies, things to do with property, land, and real estate. So that's because the new axis of energy is 12, 4, and 8. This is your superpower stuff, right? Before we talk more about that, Pisces, let me also mention that as Pluto moves in this year to Aquarius on January 2021 through to the end of the year, minus September, October, mid-November, as this is happening, you see that there's a square to Jupiter forming, and that square will be very active till about June. And there may be tension between things to do with sibling, neighbors, cousins. These are 3rd house stories, the online world, a writing project, your website, your daily life, the routines of enjoyment of your daily life and environment, or travel. And the square can still bring opportunity, because that's Pluto and Jupiter can bring wealth. But it's also coming at a cost. Is there a lot of travel involved? Is a writing project difficult? Is there a sibling objecting? Are you having to do legal matters to fix something with a cousin, neighbor, or sibling. And these things are taking precedence in 2024. And it's a bit gritty for you. But throughout to 2044, the big story is that that air trine in the moksha spiritual liberation houses of 12, 4, and 8, definitely pointing a lot of Pisces towards a really deep and profound awakening spiritually. But on the money front, because the 8th house is chunky money and the 12th is foreigner revenue and foreign shore monies and PayPal, there's a lot of money stuff going on for you the next 20 years to power up your finances. But in 2024, with the South Node in Libra, the narrative might also call you to let go of a reliance or a dependency or a focus on stocks, investments, 401k, long-term monies, taxable income, inheritance money, kind of sort of surrendering it a bit. However, a karmically owed amount of money could come to you here as well. That sounds like a vague way of putting it, but the South Node here could be it's your destiny to have some kind of legacy wealth transfer from a family member. Now, Moon in your 4th house is down there. Last quarter moon is speaking to something. I want to sit with what it's saying. That moon is really not at 25 degrees, by the way, because I'm not on the right day because I was advancing the chart. Let me just go back a bit. Yeah, so the ingress is going to be on the 20th right here, and the moon is in the early degrees of Gemini to remind you of that difference, right? I'm going to make it much more accurate here for you because where the moon is in the house of the mother. And the moon is, oops. Let's put it this way, Pisces. The moon is in the house of the mother. And I've gone so far over, I'm in the wrong hour, but anyway, you have to trust me on this, but I better get this chart back up and running for you. So it depends on where you live, you see, because it's going to be at around 8 o'clock at night on the 20th in Washington, D.C. that this ingress happens. So January 20th, 8 o'clock at night, Pluto here, the moon will be at 6 degrees. Okay, so let me just do this. Sorry, hang on. Yeah, it's the last quarter moon, double checking. So let's get to the day. I hate trying to figure these moons out on the fly. So let's get you back up in the story. And I apologize for being all over the map on you, but I just wanted to double check that. All right. So the moon here is in the house, the mother in the house of the mother. This can indicate something to do with empowerment coming through in 24 to do with property purchases, buying and selling, and rentals. Sun rules your 6th house of rental stuff. So buying, selling, and renting property becoming a highly activated narrative in 2024 is what I'm suggesting, as well as maybe some kind of increase in chunky money coming through from maybe siblings, maybe father figures, maybe something to do with investments in the markets, but be very careful. With the South Node in the stock market house for you, investments can be really a bit more risky than I would prefer, even though the South Node does flow to adventurous Venus at the top of the sky. Just be a little bit more careful with stock investments, but it could increase your chunky money in a karmically satisfying way. Overall, you're really working to increase your earnings, revenue, possessions, and resources. South Node, North Node, curing you of the chironic money, earnings, possessions, and self-worth wound, especially around money that earned through career, that really started to kick in for you in 2019. And this is being very healed in February. So it looks to me like the Pluto power-up can bring you new resources and money as well, and earnings, but especially when it comes to legacy wealth, land, property, home, tenancy, rentals, and maybe a karmic stock pick taking off as well. Anything else I need to tell you? Because Jupiter is the ruler of you and he is sextiling you, you're very protected right now, and things look okay. But it is when Pluto squares off with Jupiter, the ruler of your sign, that things can be very gnarly. So don't look for the most golden ways this looks. You might be really having to endure some kind of travel or sibling or cousin or neighborhood thing, or your daily fishbowl of your life, wanting to be bounteous, prosperous, and lucky, but squaring off with Pluto, who's got his arms crossed like a mafia boss in your 12th house. Now, Pluto could be a powerful person, male, foreign shore, foreign land, and there's opportunity there. But again, there's something about it that is also coming at a dispensation that feels gritty or difficult and not as bounteous and joyful as you'd like. And that will wear off after the third week of May when Jupiter moves into the sign of, yay, into sign of home, property, land, and real estate, into your Gemini house, and flows to Pluto, yay, into 2025, into the last part of 20, until this June of 25. And that's going to be really good for new home, homeland, property, real estate, legacy wealth, and goodness, expansion in your home. Yeah, all that good stuff. All right. So thanks for listening, Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising on your super powered Moksha 1248 axis of power. If you're new to my channel, hit the like button and subscribe if you're in the live premiere. Of course, thanks for hanging in there for this very long video. This is going to be a reminder that if you want to join my Patreon community, they're getting this on Monday, early access ad free for like a mere $5 donation every month. And also you get to see me in Zoom meetings and calls, and you get free courses with me if you join by the end of January. So check out that promotion in the description box. Okay. Ciao, ciao. And have a wonderful 2024. Check out the big playlist on the 2024 big playlist on my channel.